Now, I want to talk about social awkwardness in adults because I feel like this is something that we don't talk about enough. And I feel like it's something that, like, we could, that A, there can be something done about it. And B, I feel like we need to destigmatize it because at the end of the day, social skills are a skill. I feel like we think of social skills as like a personality trait where it's like either you have it or you don't. And honestly, I call BS. It's not true. Like, there are people who have been like, who were completely socially awkward and shy, and social awkwardness and shyness is not the same thing. I just want to say that because that's a common misconception. And like they learn social skills and they're the most charismatic and excuse me, magnetic person in the room. And listen, that can happen for anyone, any of you, if you happen to, feel like you struggle with social awkwardness. So today, what I want to talk about is I want to actually give a crash course here on if you struggle with social awkwardness. These are 7 things that I would work on to, get a jump start, right? So, thing number one is learn the 4 C's of conversation. Now, what is the 4 C's of conversation? It's a framework I came up with that it'll help you essentially connect really quickly and never get into that situation where like you don't know what to say or whatever. Speaking of framework I came up with, I want to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Day. I am a social skills consultant, and what I do is I work with adults who struggle with social awkwardness and want to become socially magnetic. Oh, thank you. You helped me so much before. I used to walk to the door and leave, but you helped me. Ooh, I feel you, my heart. And my heart's now warmed reading that because that's what I don't want for people. That is what I do not want for people to feel like, their heart is like racing every time that they have to go somewhere social because, I mean, whether we like it or not, socializing, that's life. There's really no way that you can get out of interacting with people ever. Hello, house cat, long time no see. There's really no way. Like, even with COVID, it's funny. I feel like we have gotten to a point, right, where we can curate our life so that we interact with as few people as possible. With COVID, right, we contactless delivery became a thing. We got into the habit. I mean, I know me, I still do contactless delivery. And, it's not a thing of I don't want to socialize. It's just, it's more convenient. Working from home became bigger after the pandemic. So but I feel like to some degree, socializing is a lost art in a way. But anyway, it can be learned, and that is what I want us to do now. So I have notes here actually to keep us on track. But so, yes, the 4 C's of conversation is, again, something that once you learn it and commit it to memory, you will not be afraid of conversations again. You will not feel like, oh. So, the 4 C's are curiosity, continue, commonality, and compliment. Those are the 4 things that you want to remember. Okay, so we're going to start with curiosity. It's what it sounds like. Be curious about people because honestly, your natural curiosity can help you so much when it comes to conversation because it'll become a thing where it's just like, you're not gonna have that thing where it's like, well, what do I say now? Because when they tell you something about themselves, it should spark curiosity, and you'll naturally have follow-up questions. Now, hi Gardner. If somebody, hi Jocelyn. If somebody tells you, let's say, oh, you know, I'm really annoyed that it's getting warm out now because I don't like warm weather. And let's say you love warm weather because you're a normal person. Nah, just kidding. But like you can say, "Oh, okay. What is it about warm weather that you don't like? Like, do you prefer the winter? Is that your favorite season?" And then they could say, oh yeah, actually winter is my favorite season. And then, who knows, you can start an inside joke about like how you love the winter because you hate yourself for some reason, and maybe they say you love the summer because you hate yourself, because it's just a it's just a it's an easy way. If they tell you, oh, I grew up in California, and I grew up by the beach all the time. Oh, thank you. This is from Ursa Nails, by the way. I actually have it linked in this live. But yeah, if they say, and let's say you grew up in New York where it's cold most of the year, and then you can be like, oh, okay, what was it like to grow up in especially if they grew up in LA? What was it like to grow up in LA? Like, everybody talks about LA being like the land of celebrity and stuff like that. What situation am I in if you asked your friend to hang out, but he left me on red 5 days from now? This is gonna, so I'm gonna lean towards drop the hangout and don't ask them to hang out again. If something happened to them and if this is not like them, then I would see what's up, because sometimes people get like into busy situations or like really bad life situations where they don't respond to texts, or if they mean to but they forget. But if you don't get that sense, or if this is not the first time they've done something like this, I would just leave it. In fact, yeah, I would just leave it alone, and if they come around, they come around. But again, unless it's an extenuating circumstance, I'd cool it with the friendship, because that's not cool leaving you on red for 5 days unless something happened. But yes, curiosity. The next C that I want to go over is continue. Now, continue is going to be the topic is I am giving a crash course for adults on how not to be socially awkward, how to be socially magnetic. So right now we're on the 4 C's of conversation framework I came up with, where you will never be tongue-tied again and you'll connect with people like that. I use this myself, and I make friends pretty much everywhere. So continue. The continue the thread of the conversation. So essentially what this is it's kind of similar to curiosity. Let's say that somebody wants to, signs that you're holding someone conversationally hostage. Hold that thought. We're actually going to get there. That's actually one of the things on my list of things. So let's say that it's just continuing the thread. So you could give your opinion on something that they said as an example of continuing the thread. Okay, so somebody tells you, I am really craving Chinese food right now. Like, I haven't had any in such a long time. And you could say, oh, what? I mean, I'm actually a huge, I'm so into Chinese food. I have a problem, I swear. I actually just had some last night. And then see, you're telling them something about yourself. And then you guys can bond over, if y'all both have a Chinese food addiction, then that's cool. If they don't have one and you do, who knows? Maybe that could become an inside joke. But the point is, continue the thread. Or another way you could continue the thread is summarize what they said. So going back to the Chinese food example I gave, they're like, oh my God, I'm really, really craving Chinese food right now. I used to eat it with my friends all the time. It reminds me of like me and my friend. And you could say, oh, okay, so it's like you and your friends thing that you guys do together. Something like that, So that is continuing the thread. You could also give your opinion if you disagree. You could say, I'm not a Chinese food person, but I'm actually craving sushi. Which that's actually true, by the way. I'm looking down because I'm unlocking my tablet so that I can read the notes. The next thing Commonality. So this is where you latch onto something that you have in common. So let's say, oh, they're wearing a T-shirt with the Sims Plump Bob on it or something. I've actually never seen one, but if that exists, that'd be really cool. But let's say you notice that, and you're like, oh my god, I love The Sims. Easy conversation starter. Easy. Because if they're wearing Sims merch, chances are they love The Sims too. And so that's a commonality that you guys have. And then you get into, I like The Sims 3. Oh, I like The Sims 3 too. Or I'm more of a Sims 4 person. This and this and that. And the thing is, commonality, this especially is a good one because people love the way that people love finding out that other people are similar to them. We tend to bond over similarities, so it's a quick, easy way to connect, and that's an instant like connection point that you have with them that you'll probably remember the next time. And then the fourth C is compliment. Pretty self-explanatory. Give a compliment. It's got to be genuine, of course, because if it's not, then it could actually come across like you're making fun of them or like you're just being disingenuous and weird. But a compliment establishes goodwill, and it also is a good segue into other topics. Oh, I love that bracelet. Where'd you get it? They tell you where they got the bracelet. You love that store too. You maybe want to get that bracelet now. And then you start talking. Oh, maybe she tells you that it has sentimental value, and now, and her grandma gave you that, and now, you know something about her personal life. How not to run out of things to say. 4 C's of conversation. Curiosity, be curious about people. Continue the thread of what they said by giving your opinion or summarizing what they said. Commonality, find what you have in common, and compliment. Self-explanatory. So you can just cycle through the 4 C's of conversation pretty much, and also, feed off of them. And what I mean by feed off of is, really listen to what they said. This is where the curiosity comes into play, especially because when they say things and it sparks curiosity, as long as the question is not invasive, ask them about it. And people also love to be asked about themselves too, because that'll show you're taking a genuine interest. When people feel like you're genuinely interested in them, you connect pretty quickly. So now I've gone over how to have a conversation. Now we're going to know how to end a conversation. And this is where, House Cat, your question comes into play. So eventually a conversation is going to end, right? It's either you're going to end it or the other person is. So a sign that the other person is ready to end the conversation is going to be that they start looking away. If you see that they start to break eye contact a lot more than they were before, that's a sign that they are ready to end the conversation. If you notice that their responses are getting shorter and shorter all the time, like they were talking in paragraphs before, now they're talking in short sentences, you're hearing a lot of, yeah, okay, yeah. That's because they're trying to wind down the conversation and transition into a goodbye. And so they, of course, don't want to, keep the conversation going, That's a hint, but they don't want to cut you off. Another thing that you'll see commonly is that the person will start to back away a little bit. Like if you see that they're backing away from you, that's a sign to wrap up what you're saying. Or if they start being like, oh, what time is it? Or, oh, I got up. Oh, what's going on? Or what do you have planned later today? That one, I'll say the what do you have planned, that one more depends. That's not as, I'll say, definitive a sign as the other ones, but if you see disengagement or less engagement over time, that's a sign that you want to wrap up what you're saying. What's another way to say, tell me more? Tell me more is great. Another way that you could say, tell me more is, you could ask specifically what you want to know, or you can even say, oh wow, that is like, I love this story. Please, like, I want to know more about such and such and such. So there is that, but knowing how to end a conversation is what I'm now gonna segue into. So if you are the one that wants to end a conversation, one thing you can do is you can say what you have to go do. So, oh hey, I actually have to go and head out to the store. I gotta catch up on some work. I gotta this. But it was nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later. Or, I'll see you Monday if it's a coworker or whatever. So, but the key with that is that you just want to end on a positive note, and you want to, still preserve goodwill even though you're ending the conversation. Another thing you could do, if you don't want to, if you don't want to, you know, if you don't actually have anything you want to do, but you want to get off the phone, you want to walk away and stop talking for now, you can say, all right, well, it was nice talking to you, but I think I'm going to get going for now, or I think I'm going to head out. Take care, or it was nice to see you, or I'll see you whenever. So, that sort of thing. And one thing I really want to go over though, because I feel like this is a situation where all that people get into a lot. So let me just scroll down to see if there's any more comments. Now, there is a time where you might want to end a conversation and the person is not willing, or is not reading social cues, and they may not mean to. It's just like they're, kind of long-winded, or they're just not catching silent cues that you're ready to wind down and wrap up. So in this situation, you're going to do what I call validate and pivot. Do I have any tips on going out alone, like to go out bar and how to approach people? I do. I'm going to get to that, but I do. So what you're going to do is, yes, validate and pivot. So let's say they are talking to you about how their child got really, really good grades, and their child always gets F's, and this and this and that and that and that and that. You validate what they're saying. So that'll be like, oh wow, okay, she must have worked really, really hard. I know, like, that you both must be ecstatic. But anyway, and here's where the pivot comes in. But listen, I actually have to go. I'm gonna head out now, but it was really nice talking to you. I'll talk to you later, okay? And then you could even add the wave if you want to as a nonverbal cue that you're done now with the conversation. And what else is good to do? Begin backing away as you're talking, and do not stop. Now, normally in a conversation, right, you say bye, the other person's like, bye, talk to you later, nice talking to you, we should catch up, all that. This time you gotta approach it differently, because if you wait for them to answer, they may get into talking again, and you're trying to leave. So, like, this is a good way to protect both their dignity and your time, because you can't be being held hostage. Ask me how I know. I used to have that happen to me all the time, and I used to be resentful. And ever since I discovered the validate and pivot method, I actually spontaneously thought of it at the grocery store one day, and it worked like a charm. So definitely try this. Now, number 3, you want to regulate your nervous system if you want to overcome social awkwardness and become socially magnetic. The magnetic piece is especially it's applicable here, because we naturally, as humans, as biological mammals, actually, we're attracted to regulated nervous systems, because we can feel other people's energy. And so when you feel extra calm around somebody, when you see that someone is confident and you're drawn to them, what they're actually doing is they're regulating your nervous system. And they're regulating your nervous system because, at least in some ways, their nervous system is regulated, at least enough to be fully present socially. And this is what I teach my one-on-one clients. This is also what I teach in my courses on social skills for adults. So one thing that is very easy to do when going out, and this is where house cat, I'm going to get into going out alone. So I actually did a video on this recently, but lower your shoulders if you start feeling anxious. When you lower your shoulders, what you're telling your body is it's okay. And you're gonna instantly probably feel more relaxed. Because when we don't feel relaxed, when we feel nervous, what we tend to do is something like this. We're hunched up. This is a very tense position to be in, and we're tense because we're anticipating danger. And we're in fight or flight. Part of regulating the nervous system is calming that fight or flight. So, and another thing that you could do, and this is easy, and you know what? I actually recommend you guys doing it with me. Box breathing. The tips I'm going to give you here on regulating your nervous system are things that you can do in public without even like anybody knowing. So, box breathing goes like inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, hold 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are some things that can calm your nerves. Now, other than that, too, speaking of fight or flight, you of course want to make sure that you're safe since you're out alone. Of course, self-explanatory. Hand over your drink, cover it. Try not to go to any dangerous areas. But if you're at a bar and you're able to approach people, one good thing is you can definitely use the 4 C's of conversation. Like I told you, they're also good for approaching people as well. If someone's sitting next to you at the bar and they're talking about a subject that's kind of light, you can jump in, but you just have to keep it short when you do jump in. So I don't know, let's say that they're talking about Beyonce's new album and they're like, oh my god, I love Beyonce's new album, I can't wait to go see her in concert. Let's say you saw her in concert the last time she had one. You can say, oh my god, yes, I went to her last concert and it was everything. Like, I especially can't wait to see her perform such and such song live. And then you gauge them. And if they are talking to you more, then you're in the conversation with them. Now it's a group of 3 instead of 2, let's say. But if they kind of answer you like, oh, and then like they kind of go back to talking amongst themselves, I would just leave them alone. So other tips that I want to give you for how to approach people. When it comes to approaching people, because it's a bar setting, I wouldn't really recommend walking around the bar per se to try and approach people, because I mean that would be, or find someone to, I was gonna say dance with, but I mean that's more of a club type thing. I would say be in your own element. And this is the same if you're going out to dinner by yourself, which I love going out to dinner by myself, by the way. You can just relax, be you, and kind of have a mentality of I don't chase, I attract. Just that mental shift alone is going to change your energy, and it's going to make you more magnetic. And then observe your surroundings. If you see someone's wearing something nice, tell them. If you hear a light conversation going on and you have an opinion to add, if you agree with it, don't jump in people's conversations to disagree with them. Say it. If you find that you have something in common with people that you're overhearing, you can add something to their group, like I said. Or if you see someone else alone, 4 C's of conversation, because they might want to talk to people too. Hi, love your videos. Thank you. I'm a bit shy, but can still hold conversations. I would like advice for when people baby me, for being less talkative but not be too rude. What are better environments to solo socialize in? If there are any meetups in your area, like for specific activities, like for example, I don't know where you are. I'm in New York, and we have paint and sips. You paint, you sip some wine, and that's an instant commonality that you two have, because or by you two I mean you and anyone there, because you're both painting. And so activity groups are really, really good. Hi, love your. Sorry, I read that comment, but you'd like advice for people babying you and being less talkative but not be too rude. Okay, we are actually. Oh, you're in a small town in Indiana. Okay, I don't know. Meetup.com though is actually Meetup.com is good. Now, again, I'm in New York City, so what we have available might be different, but I know there should be meetup groups anywhere. They even have an app, and then like you can get notifications on like different activities that are available depending on what you like to do. Okay, but to get to I don't know how to pronounce your name, Shioghuk. We're actually gonna get into number 4 on this list of how not to be socially awkward, which is how to confront nicely and set boundaries. So sometimes people are going to, oh my god, I don't want to hear any of that. I will not tolerate Kamala slander. How to confront nicely and set boundaries. So, because there are times where people are going to say something that you don't like. No problem, Oz. So, when setting boundaries, this will especially work in a group setting, it can be good in the moment to start with what I call a warning shot. So somebody says something a little out of pocket, and you say, whoa, or you go, hey, and then, or, all right, chill out. Why that's good is because you said something. You spoke up for yourself. You put that person and everyone else in the room on notice that didn't sit right with you, and that's not going to go unaddressed. But what this keeps you from doing is going guns blazing. It also buys you time. If you're not really good or quick with comebacks, it buys you time to, think of how you want to address this, and also to maybe clarify their intent. Because imagine if somebody said something and maybe they just kind of put their foot in their mouth and they didn't mean it, but they still said something that's out of pocket. You might handle that a little bit differently than you'd handle if somebody clearly meant to disrespect you. So, because if you say, whoa, and someone's like, oh, what's wrong? Then you could just say, when you said X, Y, Z, D, that didn't sit right with me. That actually really offended me. And they might be like, sorry. Or if you say, whoa, and they go, what? I said what I said. Then it's clear that they meant to disrespect you. And then you can handle that a little bit more aggressively. Is it fair game to walk away when that happens? That's what you do because you're very passionate. Now walking away, depending on how you do it, could be interpreted as aggressive. So if you do need to walk away, then what you say is, hey, listen, I'm gonna be honest. what you said didn't sit right with me. I'm actually gonna take a beat and go um, outside for a minute or whatever. Or you can, if you decide that you don't want to say anything in the moment, you can excuse yourself to go to the restroom, take a beat, and then you can pull the person aside and then confront them later on when you're able to, calm down and have a more measured conversation. And how you would have a measured conversation is this, and I feel like this is especially important. And I feel like this is one of the things that can make or break whether you are perceived as socially savvy or not. How you handle boundaries and confrontation, because people that struggle with social awkwardness, they tend to, their calibration tends to not be great when it comes to like how to approach situations where boundaries need to be set. So if this is somebody that, especially if this is somebody that you want to preserve the relationship, you approach them, it's best to do it face to face. If you absolutely can't do it face to face, then then you can text them. But either way, ask, hey, can I speak to you? Is now a good time? And then they'll either say yes or they'll say no. If they say no, you can ask, okay, what would be a good time for us to talk? When are you available? When they're available and when you guys are able to meet up, you say, so here's what I wanted to talk to you about. On such and such time, you said this. And when you said this, I felt this way, and it didn't sit right with me. And then listen to what they say. So for example, let's take the example of people babying you. Now, I do want to ask you, is this somebody close to you, or is this kind of people like, let's say, coworkers, classmates, whatever? Because that's going to change how you approach this. They're not close to you. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give an example of, let's say, someone close to you or a relationship you want to preserve. And then I'm going to come back to your babying example, because I think we should address that. So anyway, let's say, on Wednesday, you said that people who get their nails done all long are vapid, and I didn't appreciate that because you knew I had my nails done like this, and it felt like you were calling me vapid, and I just don't understand why you do that, or whatever. You focused on how you feel, but you're not gonna accuse and be like, oh, you were an asshole, you were a jerk, you did this, because then you only do that if you want a fight. But if you want a conversation, you use I statements. Anyway, then you watch how the person responds. If somebody is someone to keep in your life, then they'll say, oh, you know what, I'm sorry, that was really, really thoughtless of me. I would never want to make you feel disrespected. I went too far, and I can own that, and I will not do it again. And then you thank them for the apology, and you just watch for changed behavior. If it's a repeat pattern, then you might want to consider downgrading the friendship. But yeah, and that's also if you're on the receiving end of a confrontation, you want to apologize, acknowledge the impact that you had on the person from what you understand, and promise not to do it again. Thank you. They are Ursa nails, by the way. I actually have them linked if you want them for yourself. So now back to the babying example. If they baby you for being less talkative, I assume it's kind of like, oh, you're so cute, you're so shy. Is that what they're doing? Because if that's what they're doing, then you just act really confused. you're gonna show with your body language that what they're doing is a bit odd. And you say something like, um, why is it so cute that I'm just not talking? I don't get it. Um, just keep acting confused. Oh, because you're so you just you like a little girl. And then here's my next tip for you: act bored with what they're doing. Um, no, I don't think it's little girlish to. I don't think it's little girlish not to talk. I'm a grown woman, so. And then beyond that, just give them weird looks like, okay, that was random. Anyway, you can even say that too. Like, the point is, just show with your demeanor that you're not here for. You don't have to go off, but if you act really kind of bored and disinterested and confused in what they're doing, it's gonna make it awkward to the point where they're likely gonna not want to do that again. What are some things to look for if you're making a genuine connection versus having a pleasant exchange? Okay, so number one thing that you want to look for is reciprocity. You want to look for example, if you're going and approaching them to talk to them, are they approaching you? If they're not approaching you, then they might just be being polite. If there's a genuine connection, are they asking you about yourself? Are they asking you, or when you tell them things about yourself, are they asking you follow-up questions? If you're sharing something and maybe you get kind of personal, do they match do they match how personal it is? Do they match your level of disclosure? Um, are they telling you things that they don't tell other people? Um, are they when you mention hanging out or they mention hanging out, do they follow through? Do they seem eager? All of those things are how you could tell if somebody is genuine, because, and honestly, you're gonna be able to feel it. We tend to be able to tell. Now, for some people, it's obviously easier than others, but you're basically gonna sense a certain amount of effort and a certain amount of investment when it's a genuine exchange. Okay, so that is that's genuine connection and how to confront nicely. But you also have to know how to confront not nicely. You need to know how to be mean. I'm a firm believer in that, because people will try you. People will try to pull power moves. It's honestly, I would say it's kind of the laws of nature that, people are always trying to see who's stronger and who's weaker. People are always trying to like gain status and power. And so learning how to be mean, it's good. It's a good thing. It's kind of like a tool to have in your back pocket. Is it enough to be kind and open-minded to have a genuine connection? Yes and no, because honestly, no matter how kind you are, if it always takes two, right? You and somebody either are gonna click or you're not. But if you're open, then there's a better chance of meeting somebody that you will click with. So if you want to learn how to be mean, one thing that I always tell people to start with is, if someone says something dumb or something disrespectful, you could just give them a really confused look, like, what the hell? Or you can roll your eyes and let out a big sigh. What that does is it buys you time. And it buys you time because, number one, you're actually taking a deep breath, but you're not like, which would be weird. You're just like, it's something that goes back to the nervous system regulation that I mentioned before. But it looks like you're giving a ton of attitude, and it looks very dismissive. So that's good. So, and that's one of the things. If you are somebody who like you're not great with like coming up with quick-witted comebacks, look, being dismissive, it's so easy because a lot of these techniques I'm gonna give you, you really don't have to say anything. Like for like another technique is someone says something dumb to you, just turn to the other person and start talking to them as if they didn't even say anything. They're gonna look like an idiot. Or bonus points if this is your friend and you guys just ignore the fuck out of, because think about how you would feel if you said something, anything to somebody, and then they just turn around and start talking to someone else. That'd be embarrassing, right? So yeah, should I dismiss subtle shade when they're talking amongst each other, but it's directly towards me? Now this depends on how much smoke you want. If they are talking to each other, but it's directly towards you, and you want to show that you saw it, but you don't want to start anything, you could just look at them and then just start laughing at them, be like yeah, okay, whatever. Or if you do want the smoke, you can say, yeah, is there a problem? You seem upset. What's up? Yep. If you want all the smoke, ask them. Yeah. Or if they're like, some people this and this and this. Yeah, some people do. What about it? What about it? It's kind of a weird thing to talk about. Yeah. But say it loud. If you do want the smoke, say it loud and embarrass them. Embarrass the hell out of them. And speaking of embarrassing people, this is if they're bullying you hardcore, go for their flaws. Go for their flaws. And it's an easy comeback. It's an easy way to show that you're not going to be messed with. However, understand that they might go for perceived flaws that you have. And this is where confidence comes into play. You have to be able to fake like you don't care what they have to say. And an easy way is two things. You can either be playful about it, or you can fake confusion. In fact, this one trick I'm going to tell you, it'll help you do both. So, I don't know. Let's say that they're trying to call you dumb or whatever. You'll fake confusion and you'll be like, but you failed out of high school. Who are you calling dumb? Like, you see, if you start with the but and then like say the reason why they shouldn't be talking, or for example, they try and this is really petty, but I don't know, they come for your appearance in some way. Oh my God, that's why you look like that. And then you could say, but you're ugly. I don't understand. From you? Have you experienced people treating you like you're dumb because you're excited and bubbly? Yes. Yeah. People try that. Oh, speaking of which, remember when I was saying that a lot of these tricks I'm going to give you are about being dismissive and that they're so easy that you don't have to say anything? If somebody starts to treat you like you're dumb, or you sense that somebody's kind of like you know how when mean girls are like giving you a little attitude, they're just like, the words are lost on me, but you probably know what I mean. They're trying to act like they don't give you the time of day. This is especially good if you have resting bitch face. Just go like this. Drop your face. Every time somebody has tried that with me and I drop my face, they shape up instantly. It's almost funny how quickly suddenly the friendliness comes back. And the friendliness comes back because they're trying to get your friendliness back, because if you drop your face, it registers as rejection. And we don't like rejection. We're actually hardwired to feel hurt by rejection, even when it's by people that we don't like. And especially if somebody was trying to act like they were better than you, and then you're unimpressed, but you don't say anything. They're like, wait, what happened? Why am I? Yeah, subconsciously. And you're going to see. Works every time. Okay, so that's some stuff on how to be mean. Next, we're going to go over how to read the room. Now, these are just general tips on reading the room. Now, of course, it's a bit more complex than someone can explain in a TikTok live, but I'm going to give you some tips for those who might be new and who might be coming in. Yes, silence makes people very uncomfortable. It's a very good thing to know how to use against people. But yes, for those of you who came in, introducing myself, I'm a social skills consultant who works with adults on how to be socially magnetic and get over social awkwardness. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can click the link in my bio, and I have a variety of ways to work with me. Video call, also voice memo, which is like a video call, but you don't have to actually schedule anything. You send me a voice memo with whatever you want my insight on, and I send you back a voice memo with my insight, and you can hear my tone and intonation, because sometimes it's easier to communicate with voice than with just text, and sometimes it's easier to do things asynchronously than to schedule a call and clear your schedule. So that's what I have. And there is oh yeah, house cat. That's what I wanted to respond to. You get that a lot because you're just a silly goose. And be the silly goose. But then just show them that if they want to be funny, you can be hilarious. How do you handle when you're getting social attention when you're used to the opposite? The nervous system regulation techniques that I mentioned, because they'll allow you to be present. And if you're present, you'll find that that oh, I don't know what to say, deer in headlights thing taken care of. So, but on reading the room, the first thing, and house cat, this will actually apply to your question about getting social attention when you're used to the opposite as well. You want to slow down. Something I want you guys to remember is go slow to go fast, and go fast to go slow. And what I mean by that is, when you go slow, you're telling your body that there is no rush, that there is no hurry. When you go slow, it regulates your nervous system. Notice regulating your nervous system is something I keep coming back to. My mini course on how to get over social anxiety goes over regulating your nervous system as well. When you go slow, the added benefit, other than regulating your nervous system, is that it allows you to think clearly, you make less mistakes, and it communicates to other people that you are in control and that you are at peace, and that subconsciously communicates power, which commands respect. It exudes confidence, because at the end of the day, remember that whoever controls the pace controls the situation. And so when you are moving slowly, it shows that you know that you're in control. You don't think, you know. And now, what does this have to do with reading the room? Well, if you slow down, again, helps you think more clearly, helps you be more present, and you'll find that it's a lot easier to tune in and pay attention to what other people are communicating non-verbally as well. Because what can happen, especially if you have social anxiety, is your eyes are darting around the room. You're like, oh, how am I holding my hands? How am I standing? Oh, are they liking me? Oh, this and this and that. And you're so focused on how you come across. And while that's understandable, your mind can only focus on so much at a time, and you're not present. And you might miss social cues that you wouldn't have missed. And also, when you slow down, it allows you to act in a way that's more natural, because a lot of social awkwardness, it comes from acting in a way that's unnatural because you're nervous. You notice you talk too slow and not in the right cadence. Any tips for that? Um, I'm gonna For that I go back to nervous system regulation. I don't know if you were here for this earlier, but I recommend box breathing. So you inhale for 4 counts, you hold for 4 counts, then you exhale for 4 counts and hold for 4 counts, and you can repeat that as many times as you want. I also recommend lowering your shoulders. Uh, those bodily things are going to help you to be less nervous, because that's the root. When you when you're when you're nervous, and you'll exhibit those nervous habits. So try to cut the nervousness at the source as best as you can. Um, Now, in other and you and other okay, I already answered that question. Another thing I want to touch on when it comes to reading the room is be in the mind of the observer. So rather than just observing how the other person is thinking of you, focus on what do you think of that person. What I call this is go from being the evaluated to being the evaluator, and be like, what do I think of this person? Do I like them? What kind of personality do I think they have? Is this somebody who I'd want to be friends with, and why? Those things, because that's another way that you can read the room, and you can get out of that auditioning mindset. And this all goes back to, again, being more present. And when it comes to being present, you want to tune into what your body is telling you about people and about your relationship to those people. Because sometimes, with when people struggle with social awkwardness, part of the root of that problem is that they will give me a second, I lost my train of thought. They will it's late, y'all. They'll do this thing where they'll feel like, okay, I have to be outgoing, and being outgoing looks like this. I have to be talking all the time. Oh, I see so and so is well liked, and she always gives hugs when she meets people, so I'm gonna go and give a hug. But you're not feeling right about that hug for whatever reason. And this is where my next tip comes in, which is, when in doubt, don't. Because if you're in doubt and you're hesitating to do something, and then you go and you do it, it may not end well for several reasons. Number one, your body language is likely going to communicate that you're uncomfortable, which people can feel your energy. That's likely going to make the other person uncomfortable. And then number two, a lot of the time when your body is telling you no, it may be your intuition, your social intuition, telling you that you and that person actually don't have that kind of relationship. So, or if you're hesitant about saying a certain thing and you feel like it might not land well, that might be your social intuition telling you, yeah, that it might not be received well. And so, in situations where you're in doubt about whether saying a certain thing is appropriate, or whether you should hug somebody, or any action that you might take in a social interaction, if you're in doubt, I would rather you hold off than do it against your better judgment, and then it does go exactly the way you thought, and now you're dealing with the fallout of that. And so that is reading the room. And then my seventh and last tip I wanted to share with you was be hard to embarrass. Be hard to embarrass. Own who you are. I keep coming back to regulating your nervous system, but own who you are. Um, Regulating your nervous system helps you do that. Be more grounded within yourself, and what whatever your story is, wherever you came from, whatever uh, mishap I'll say happens to you while you're out and about, just own it. Like if you have some food on your face and then someone points it out, instead of like feeling like you want to hide, just be like, oh shit, oh thanks for pointing that out, because like I was gonna walk around with that thing on my face the whole night. Imagine. Just own it. um I'll give you an example from my own life. Actually, there was one time where I was on the bus, and I was looking to sit in the back, and you know how the bus will have like that little step and then the back seats will be a little bit higher up. Anyway, I go, and as I'm walking, the bus starts moving, and I tripped and I fell. And a lot of people would be humiliated by tripping and falling. I don't care. Hell, I just told the internet. Like, there was a time at work where I got locked out of like a certain door and someone had to come open the door for me. And I was telling the story to a coworker, and then they were like, "Oh, that's awkward." And to me, I'm just like, "Why? I got locked out somewhere. So what?" Self-confidence. Self-confidence is so magnetic. This is probably, if I had to boil it down into one tip and I had to tell you to work on just one thing, it would be definitely self confidence. If you're hard to embarrass, it's going to be really hard also for a person to try and pull power moves on you. I mean, they could try all day long, but will it work? Now, you have a weird question. How do you connect with other people your age? You find it that you hit it off better with people in their early to mid 20s. Okay, if you don't mind me asking, how old are you? House cat. Um, in order to connect with other people your age, you have to be, of course, around other people. You turn 30 on the 5th of April. Oh, happy early birthday! I turned 30 in December. Um, so if you, in order to connect with people your age, this might go back to the meetups thing I mentioned before. Like, they actually have again, with the caveat that I'm in New York, they actually have certain events that I've seen where they're like, oh, this is for, let's say, singles in their 30s. It's a dating thing, but whatever. Try to be around people your age, and try to, because at the end of the day, it's all about finding finding people who have the same interests in you and the same values as you, because you'll find people of all interests and all values at any age. So in your case, I think it's honestly going to be a numbers game. Now, if anyone has any questions, that's it for now as far as what I have to give for my crash course. You struggle building with relationships with women. Do you think it's generally difficult? Are you a woman too? Because my answer is going to depend. You are a woman, okay. Well, I personally don't find it difficult to build relationships with women. If anything, I find it easier to build relationships with women, but this will depend on a lot of things. Like, for example, if you're not very girly, then you might not connect with women who are very girly. If you, like, when you say you have trouble with building relationships with women, what do you mean when you say that? Is it that you fall out with them a lot, or you just don't connect? Because if okay, you've been hurt by women more than men, you have a mother wound, they don't like you off the bat, even if I'm nice. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So is this a thing where like they kind of act like mean girls? Cause them, just fuck them. You don't need to connect with those people. Your mother passed when you were very young. I'm so sorry. Um, Now, the thing is, if it's because of cattiness, stay away from them. Um, it's hard to say without knowing a bit more about your situation, T. But generally, it may just be a matter of you don't have, like I was saying to House Cat, you don't have the same interests or the same values. If these are women that they like to be catty, let's say, or they like to gossip a lot, and that's not you, then no. Or what I find a lot too is that there are a lot of like unspoken rules when it comes to friendship, and women we tend to be a little bit more women tend to be a little bit less direct when it comes to stuff like that. So conflict style too, like if these people are if you tend to meet people that are very passive aggressive, and I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, women are passive aggressive because I'm a woman. I'm not gonna be sexist towards my own sex, but if these are people that tend to be passive aggressive and they don't say anything to you when you've upset them, let's say, but then they'll go talking behind your back or they start being short with you, then that's a difference in communication style. But there are other women that they are direct. They will communicate their feelings. So in your case, again, it's hard to answer without knowing more about your situation, but generally, I actually would recommend having a list of criteria in order to be your friend. If you don't already have one, I would literally make a literal list of deal breakers and take your time getting to know people. And, if you see that they have any of those deal breakers, cut. In fact, that's actually one of the prompts in a shadow work journal that I have that may help you, T. It touches on deal breakers. It's actually, this is a proof copy, so ignore the ribbon, but yeah. It's called Gut Punch, and it's stuff that it's essentially journal prompts that they get to deep-rooted traumas that you may have. It asks you very, very pointed questions so that there's no hiding from yourself. And one of the prompts actually is, I don't remember it word for word, but it's what are your deal breakers when it comes to relationships? Because having this on paper, it can help you have something to go back to whenever you're faced with a situation where it's like you're questioning whether you want somebody to be in community with you. It's on Amazon, by the way, if you're interested. I also have a link in my bio to get yes, it is. The link's in my bio. You can get it either on Amazon if you want the paperback version. I also have a digital version. And it also has coloring pages, because my journal gets heavy. Very, very, very heavy. Again, it's called Gut Punch. It's especially good for mother wounds and things like that. I designed it to touch on that kind of stuff. And coloring is also a good nervous system regulator too. That's why I included it. Fun fact, I drew some of the pages that are in there. Yeah. In fact, let me show you. Where is the page that I drew? Oh, here we go. I don't know if you're able to see it. I don't want it to go out of focus, but yep. Yeah, and mother wounds, like that stuff, I feel like people underestimate how much a mother wound can affect your life, your social skills, your everything. It affects how you relate to other people. There are so many people, like, for example, whose mothers are pretty much mean girls to them. And then either they become mean girls themselves, or they attract a lot of mean girl, narcissistic female friends because they don't know any different. And it's sad. It's nope, 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 nope. It's actually one of the main reasons why I talk about the stuff that I do. Anyone who might be seeing me for the first time, I talk about social skills for adults is my main thing, but I also talk a lot about narcissistic parents and how they affect people's social skills, because this stuff needs to be talked about. Because this cannot keep being a wound that people carry in secret and feel like maybe I'm the only one. No, not at all. Mm-mm. No. But at this point, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the live here. Yes, it is difficult to make solid friendships as an adult, Jazzy B. You're right. Time, obligations, traumas, all that stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. Again, link in bio if you're interested in any of the services I mentioned, whether it be courses, one-on-one, or my shadow work journal called Gut Punch. And I am going to say goodnight now, and I'll see you guys next time.